Hey everybody, welcome to the Pretend Pundits. If you like the content we're putting out, please consider giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications to be notified every single time we go live or upload a video. You can even join in the conversation with us by joining the Discord. The link will be in this video description. Now sit back and enjoy. Okay, here we go then, boys. Episode 8 of the Pretend 11s series. This is take 2. We recorded the first 15 minutes of this video, realising that our microphones were turned off. On my mistake, so apologies about that. Luckily, we didn't get too far into the team. We got the goalkeeper and left back. So Aidan nominated Bernd Leno, Sean nominated David Raya from Brentford, and I nominated Kepa. We went with Leno after a discussion. Based on his price and how good he's actually been going from a top team to Fulham. And then left back. Who did we put at left back, Sean? How do you say his name? Estupinha from Brighton, of course. The nominees that missed out on there, I gave mine up pretty easily. Dan Burn. I struggled for a nomination with that one. And Aidan, who did you nominate again? Was it Ait-Nouri?
Ait-Nouri from Wolves, yeah.
So, and we were mid debate about the right back before we realised that there was no audio. So we'll go back to that debate. I've nominated Ashley Young. The reason for that being, as more of a traditional defending right back, he puts up really good numbers for his age. He was the fall guy at Man United before Harry Maguire, sort of saying, "Why have we still got Ashley Young in the team?" and stuff like that. And I think for him to have gone on and put in solid performances for Aston Villa and help them push up the league, I think deserves a shot to be there. Aidan was about to give us his nomination that he said he was ready to give up. Who was it? Tomiyasu, that's right.
Yeah, Tomiyasu. But like I said, I'm fucking more than happy to give that up for Ashley Young. More than happy to.
Yeah, so Tomiyasu, again, for me, I don't think he's underrated because I just don't think he's very good. I think, like you said, they've both centre-backs in that position at Arsenal pushed out to right-back. Ben White's taken like a duck to water. Tomiyasu just doesn't play, and deservedly so. I think that Arsenal could do a lot better than him, even as a backup to White. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, Sean.
As long as it's not Cedric, mate, I'm all right.
Who did you nominate for right-back, Sean? I'll be interested to hear.
So I'm really going to put the cat amongst the pigeons on this one. Because I and even though that Aidan wants to go with Andy's, here's one that Andy may want to go with mine. I actually think that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is underrated from a position where he was deemed surplus to requirements. He's now pretty strong in terms of your right backs. I think he's certainly doing well at the moment. And I know he costs a lot of money, but I think that Wan-Bissaka has been phenomenal for the second part of the season.
Yeah,
Wan-Bissaka's not a bad shout, to be fair.
I like the recognition. I mean, I even said, I can't remember what video we was doing. It was probably one of the pods where I said about Wan-Bissaka, I'd go with Wan-Bissaka over Dalot, and you seem shocked by that. But I don't know whether it's others that say this, but for me, I would always pick, ever since the World Cup especially, Wan-Bissaka would get picked. And like you say, first half of the season, he wasn't. It was pretty certain that he was going to go in January, I think. And yeah. I think it may well still be the case that he's going to be out the door.
Not as versatile, but for the same reasons that you've chosen Ashley Young.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that Wan-Bissaka as a right back is just head and shoulders above everybody else, but I think he gets criticised because he can't do the other part of the game. And when you're at a big club, you have to be able to do almost everything.
Yeah. Defensively, I can't disagree there. I remember that game against Crystal Palace that we drew 1-1, and Zaha was through on goal towards the end, and he said he felt a presence coming towards him, and he knew that there's only one person that could make that tackle, and it was Wan-Bissaka. But I don't know. I get the shout, and I appreciate that he's getting some recognition at least. And but I haven't put him in there just purely because, in my eyes, he isn't underrated. He's rated perfectly where he should be. You know, he's always struggled going forwards. His defending's never been a problem, but it's just, what does Ten Hag want out of a defender? Who knows? Does he want them to be more attacking?
Wants the full package, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think because we've been linked with Frimpong from Leverkusen, obviously,
Oh,
because he's Dutch, right?
Yeah, obviously.
And so he's got that. He obviously wants someone with a pace linking up with the right winger. I don't know. I think I have to stick with my original nomination. I don't want it to be seen as biased. We'll just need to see what happens with Wan-Bissaka. I think he might still go out. I'd keep him over Dallo myself, but again, they've both had half a good season. Dallo's been shipped out when he was playing poorly. I've always rated Dallo, so it's tough. It's certainly a battle for first, and I think we need to stick someone in there to really go, right, who is it going to be? Who's going to be number one?
Mm.
Yeah. So it's Ashley Young.
Well, I'm happy to put Ashley Young in if you feel like you need it.
I'm more than happy to have Ashley Young in there.
Right, we'll keep him in there then. Centre backs. Sean, do you want to give us both? Actually, give us both of your centre backs and talk it through.
You guys are going to tell me that I'm batshit crazy on this one.
Do like Koscielny all over again, isn't it?
So
No. I know who one of them is. I reckon. Can I guess? And you're going to say Rob Holding.
No,
Oh.
God, no.
Oh, okay.
Thank God for that.
He's ruining our title challenge. Fucking hate it.
With his fucking hairband.
Fabian Schär and Thiago Silva.
Okay, I agree with one. I think neither of them are in my team, but yeah, Thiago Silva.
Yeah. So I've gone for Thiago Silva, and this was. I think that he has been a phenomenal centre back in his career, but he came to Chelsea in his mid 30s, late 30s. He's 36, 37 now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think everybody had pretty much written him off. Is he underrated? I think he was underappreciated. Is probably a better way to describe him. And if it wasn't for Thiago Silva in that back line currently, they would be a hell of a lot worse than what they are currently doing. He's week in, week out, probably their best player.
Yeah,
it says a lot.
Yeah. I think, like you say, there might be an element to it, the fact that he's on his way out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a very, very good player. I think Chelsea fans probably don't underrate him, but fan bases other than Chelsea's probably do. I think that's a good shout. I'm not really with you on Cher though, because I think is he nominated for Team of the Season?
I don't know.
So I think if you're nominated for Team of the Season, that's not underrated for me. But it could be. I mean, I know it's the Team of the Season mostly is focused on EA and the bloody FIFA game now, so that doesn't add much to it. But no, I think Cher. That's for the reason I put Dan Burn in. I think it's Cher, Botman that get all the praise, whereas Dan Burn potentially doesn't. But
yeah,
Thiago Silva's a good shout. Aidan, what about your centre back pair, mate?
Oh, I've gone for Joe Gomez from Liverpool.
What?
Yeah. I knew this would cause a bit of fucking riff-raff. I fucking rate Joe Gomez so highly. He's just been so unfortunate being struck by injuries. And I just think he's a fucking unreal centre-back. I really do. I think if he could keep himself fit...
Hasn't he made big mistakes this season? Like, quite a few as well.
Is his injury that he can't play football?
Everyone makes mistakes, mate. Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, everyone makes mistakes, but...
I really do think he's an unreal centre-back. Given if he was fit constantly.
Isn't he one of the players set to leave Liverpool as well? I don't think they want to renew him.
I'm hoping fucking Villa snatch him. I really do.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Joe Gomez at Villa. And then my other centre-back, Big Tyrone. Big fucking Tyrone. Big Tyrone.
I think that's a better shout for underrated for sure. I think Joe Gomez isn't rated as much as he used to be because he's just fallen off.
I will happily fuck Joe Gomez off. He can go. Let's pretend I didn't say him, but I will fucking die on the hill. I will fucking die by the sword for Tyrone Mings being underrated.
So Aidan has just wasted 2 votes. So let's see if Andy pulls it out of the bag.
Again, we've gone all completely different on these.
What's going on?
So my centre back pairing, I've got Jan Bednarak and Ben Mee.
Fucking Jan Bednarak.
Has he wasted another one? Who was the last one? Ben Mee?
Bednarak,
Ben Mee.
defense. If you're looking at defensive stats, Bednarak has got like the highest amount of interceptions and blocks. Like that last ditch block. He's part of a team that's absolutely struggling, but Jan Bednarak is better than a championship player. He's a Prem centre back.
He was part of the Villa team when he couldn't get inside.
Yeah, the Villa sent him back. Yeah.
We fucked him off. And then his first game back at Southampton, he scored no goal.
Okay, that's fine, but I've got him down. You look at his stats, and he is in the top for a lot of defensive stats, considering he's at Southampton. Obviously, they've got more to defend, but he defends it.
That's probably because he's not played that much, so his percentage is higher.
Yeah.
He's barely been on the pitch, the little rat. Sorry, Bednarak. Yeah, I want nothing against you, mate. I just don't think you're that good.
Ben Mee, I think, is the better one to argue on this one. Again, for his defensive work, he's high up the list. I think he's the 8th best player in terms of defensive all-round stats. And he gets up the other end and scores goals as well. He's a bit of a goal threat, especially at set pieces.
Yeah, Ben Mee I can agree with.
I think Ben Mee's gone under the radar because when you look at Brentford, you don't look at really superstars. You see, obviously, Ivan Toney being, what is he, the 3rd highest goal scorer now? 3rd or 4th?
Yeah, something like that.
You look at David Raya being, solid as a goalkeeper. Perhaps you look at some of their other players, but I think, Ben Mee sort of gets a little bit overlooked when you look at standout players. And I think when it comes to England as well, he should be in with a shout for his defensive work and attacking work at set pieces. I think he's got 3 goals. Virgil van Dijk's got 3 goals as well. And you say, if you was to say who's a centre back that gets up and scores, the first person you'd say is Van Dijk, and he's got the same goals as him. And I think he had another one given as an own goal. Was it against early in the season?
I'm not sure, mate.
So. Yeah,
I think Ben Mee's another one. I think if he had that big move, mate, he'd have been classed as one of the best centre backs. So I can fully agree with that. To be fair.
Oh, mate, if I could swap out Harry Maguire for him right now, I'd bite your hand off.
Yeah, I feel like Ben Mee should have had that big move years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but it is what it is. He's done what he's done in his career now.
It wouldn't surprise me if he got a move. Yeah,
yeah, but what is it? I think he's cracking on a bit now, and he's 30 something.
I don't know. Don't know his age.
So he's been around a while, but yeah, no, Ben Mee I can agree with, but I think Bednarak is probably going to get the same response as I got with Joe Gomez.
Yeah, I think just Joe Gomez has been reputably bad this season. I think he has had good seasons previously, but he's been back up to Lovren and Matip and others for, I think, a good reason. And like you say, he's only come into the team when there's been injuries, so...
yeah, no, that's fair.
So,
Thiago Silva, then.
I think... Aiden said he's going to die on a hill.
Fucking Tyrone Mings is going in that team.
So
I'm just saying that now. Tyrone Mings.
I'm happy to move out Bednarak, but I still think there's a good player there. Ben Mee, I think you can't argue too much with in terms of underrated.
Oh man, are we really gonna put Tyrone Mings into this team? Really?
I don't think we should.
Absolutely. You don't.
I don't think he's. The thing is, I don't think he's underrated. I don't think he's.
I think he is.
Who's your best centre back?
Our best centre back.
Yeah.
Villas. Tyrone Mings. Tyrone Mings.
So
you can't argue it. Tyrone Mings is our best centre back.
I don't understand who underrates him.
Everyone.
I rate him. I said I'd have him over Maguire in the England setup. Maguire's overrated. Maguire's overrated compared to Mings. I don't think Mings is underrated. I don't think he's like.
Oh.
No, I'm not saying that to be baity or whatever. I don't think Tyrone Mings. I think he's perfectly rated. He's at a club. He wouldn't get into any of the top 4 teams. He wouldn't get into Arsenal's team. He wouldn't get into Man City's defence. He wouldn't get in United's defence. And he wouldn't go in probably Newcastle's. But Botman and Shah,
So now with your injuries, would you have Tyrone Mings?
Oh, with injuries, yeah. I'd have him over Maguire, but I wouldn't have him over Varane or Martinez.
Maguire's your captain. Maguire's your £80 million centre back.
Yeah, I didn't pay it.
I
It's
mean?
not 80 million out of my pocket.
Tyrone Mings for underrated. Underrated. We've had Ben Narak and Joe Gomez.
But he's
Fair
good though.
enough,
I don't think no one's out there calling him shit or bad or not mentioned.
Yeah. I'm calling him shit, and all of those descriptive words
I think
you just listed. Then
I think Sean is making the case for it. I think Sean underrates Mings. I've never said he's a bad player.
Okay, so
I think it's between Thiago Silva and Tyrone Mings. I think Ben Mee has to be in there.
Ben Mee, I can agree with. Tyrone Mings has to be in there. He's more underrated than Thiago Silva is.
I don't think he is underrated though. I don't think anyone underrates him really.
But does anyone underrate Thiago Silva really?
Look how many people. When it comes to the England squad, look how many people mentioned. Mings was one of the first place people mentioned, saying, "Why is he not there?"
I'm going to change tact so that we don't have Tyrone Mings into this team. Greatest centre back in the world, without a doubt. Hands up. I made a mistake. What a player Tyrone Mings is.
You know, Aiden's clipping that down.
He should never be in the underrated 11 because he's just too good.
Oh my God.
I think that who were the players that were missing? If you was to say a defender, a midfielder, an attacker missing from the England team that should be there, you'd say Mings should have been there out of defenders, Ward-Prowse should have been there out of centre mids, and out of forwards, Ollie Watkins. No, I don't think anyone's underrating them at all. I think Aston Villa in general have been underrated under Emery as a team and getting results, but I honestly don't think Mings has been underrated.
Wholeheartedly agree, Andy.
Oh, I'm gonna be fucking sick everywhere.
What a player Mings is.
If Tyrone Mings doesn't go with this fucking side. No,
I think I've got to put Thiago Silva in. I think between the two, this is like the Luke Shaw being overrated versus Zinchenko again.
Oh my God. I need to fucking woosah.
Have you
I'm feeling in a rage burning in me?
Have you got a better argument than what you have so far? Because you just not convinced me enough. I don't think he's underrated.
Yeah, not when you're choosing a world-class centre-back such as Tyrone Mings.
You was about to say Thiago Silva. Fucking, it can't be Thiago Silva for underrated over Tyrone Mings. It can't.
Of course it can.
Who the fuck underrates Thiago Silva?
At 37, everybody. People have said he's gone.
Surely he's not got long left and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
He came in and won the Champions League in his first season with Chelsea.
Yeah,
but you wouldn't put that down to Silva, though, would you?
Eh? Silva? Oh, Thiago Silva. Yeah.
I think we need to move on from this. But
oh my God,
I don't know why you're taking it as such an insult, because even though Sean is being sarcastic to the max right now, I'm saying that
I'm going to set myself on fire.
I don't know, because I don't think it's an insult to say that he's not underrated. I think he is rated.
No, and I appreciate that.
If anything, he's overrated.
From you,
right? Before I can see Aiden getting more red as we go on. Should we? Come on,
Aiden.
It's not down to me, is it? I don't have a fucking say in this because you boys are going to pick.
Between Mings and Silva, I have to pick Silva because I don't think Mings is underrated. Who would I rather have in my team? Mings, without a doubt.
What, over Thiago Silva?
I'd rather have him in my team, but I think that Silva is more underrated.
Me too.
I'm going to explode.
Right, Aiden, I'll just quickly text you Sean's address and then we'll just carry on with the rest of the video.
I'm trying to fucking look for some kind of weapon to hurt something with.
Right.
Oh.
Here we go. This is it. This is a defence all done.
Please don't
Bernd
read it back.
Leno in goal. Right back, Ashley Young. Centre backs, Ben Mee, Thiago Silva. Who's at left back, Sean? Estupinian. Estupinan.
Super fucking nan.
Right. Aiden, I'm sorry, mate. Mings is good. He's not underrated, I don't think, but
So good.
you'll be fine.
Oh,
Aiden,
God,
soft-
I'm burning up.
Soften the blow. Talk us through your midfield.
There's no point. There's no point. I've got another Villa player in there. I'm just going to get wound up.
Go on. Give us your first midfielder nomination.
I'm not going to do the Villa one for my first one.
Okay.
So my first nomination is James Garner from Everton, who United sold.
Okay.
Because I remember we spoke before, like you remember how you were saying how he's a player you wish you kept hold of, and I think a lot of people from probably United fan base probably agree he was an up and coming talent, and I feel as though he should have been given a chance over players like Fred. I feel like he could have offered a lot more, even though he is a lot younger, and now he's gone to a shit club, which is obviously making everyone look shit. But I really think James Garner is one of your old school classic centre midfielders, and I just feel like he's got such good potential. But unfortunately, he's gone to a dead end club, so now he just looks past. Like people don't really look at him anymore as a good player with potential.
It's hard to judge on that though, because he didn't really get any game time for United. I'd be stumped if he even got more than a game that I can remember. He played in the youth. He went on loan to Forest and helped them get promoted. But I wouldn't say he's underrated. What's he done this season?
He's just got a high potential, hasn't he?
I was going to say it's potential. It's a very bad business from Man United, who are typically bad at business both ways, overspending on players and letting players either go for free or for a ridiculous amount of money. But I think it's because at the time he was the only saleable asset. Like who wanted to buy David De Gea on that all them wages? No one. No one wants to buy Phil Jones because of his wages. I think I don't know. I'd struggle to put him in just purely because I don't think he's done anything.
Okay.
I understand from the potential. I understand that, but
yeah,
no, I don't know. I struggle with that one myself. Sean, have you got a?
I'm going to take Aiden's thunder. Jacob Ramsey.
That's not who I've picked, but fucking let's go for it.
Okay.
I think Jacob Ramsey this season has been phenomenal.
Unreal.
And he's getting a lot of game time in the under-21s for England as well. But I think he's certainly at the kind of peripheral of the England squad, to be honest with you. I think he's been magnificent. And I see it. Was it last week that he scored and got an assist? I just don't.
Yeah.
The English media are very quick to hype an English player, but I haven't seen the same hype on Jacob Ramsey yet. I don't know if it's just me thinking he's great, and Aiden obviously thinks he's great, but
he is.
He deserves Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher levels of hype.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If Conor Gallagher can get the hype that he has, Jacob Ramsey should have it tenfold.
Yeah.
I think that game you're talking about, he did. Yeah, he got a goal and an assist, and I think he created the most chances in that game as well.
Yeah,
I think he narrowly missed out of my nominations, but I like that shout because he is definitely a good player.
Yeah, I'm all for that one.
Okay, I'm going to give you my first nomination, and that is Bentancur of Spurs. I know that Sean's not going to like it, but I think Spurs have this sort of invisible midfield, if you like, because of the way they set out. They always have a 5 at the back.
Yeah.
And then their attackers. Their attackers have gone missing this season. You've got Højbjerg, who I think it feels like he gets a yellow card every game because he's doing a lot of defensive work. But Bentancur is probably one of the most well-rounded players in the midfield in the league. I think his numbers defensively are great. His numbers attacking-wise are great. Passes-wise, he's not in the low section statistically for any area. His passes, shots, expected assists, and chances created. He's in a poor Spurs side this season. I think he could do wonders in a team like a Liverpool who are desperate for a midfielder, I think you put Bentancur in Liverpool and they become a real threat. I think they don't play with their midfielders, do they? Højbjerg's not really much of a ball player.
Yeah.
He might pick the ball up from a centre back every now and again, and he might try and intercept in the midfield or take a player down in the midfield. But they very much play with their wing backs and wingers, with Kane
really got that.
Kane holding up the midfield. I think Bentancur just seems invisible in that team, and he shouldn't be. He should be playing at a much higher level than Spurs, and he's a winner. I think he's a winning player.
Is he not heavily injured? Has he not been out for quite some time?
Yeah, but you don't record stats of a player when they're not playing, do you? If you just take a look at what he does when he's on the pitch,
When he is playing,
Yeah.
I think it's just unfortunate that he plays in that sort of dead role for Spurs. When you have a look who else has played there, you've got 5 at the back, wingers, wing backs. You've got Højbjerg, and then who else has played in the same position as Bentancur? Skip,
Basuma.
Yeah, he's been poor.
Yeah,
Dele Alli, not so long ago.
They haven't really got that. They haven't got that creative spark through the middle now. They just try to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
They try to avoid that middle of the park, like you say, because they haven't got like the Christian Eriksen anymore.
But yeah, I think personally, Bentancur, as I said, Liverpool being the prime example, they're screaming out for a midfielder right now. I'd have him happily at United as someone to play alongside Casemiro in that too. But yeah, he was the first nomination for me for that reason.
That's not a bad shout.
I worry that we might have 9 different players here. Aidan, give us your second nomination.
So my second nomination, you two are just going to fucking bat this straight off. I'm just going to say it, and we're just going to fucking do whatever. John McGinn. I think he's highly underrated. Obviously, there was that first season we come back into the Prem, where we had John McGinn, and he had a good season, and there was talks of United, and everyone wanted him. But then since then, I just feel like the hype around him's gone. I don't want to say hype, but I think what he does, like his role, I think he does perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
He's a workhorse, box-to-box tackler, and to be fair to him, he creates a lot of chances. He works his arse off, and I just think a lot of it goes unnoticed, and not just by other fan bases, a lot of Villa fans as well. So a lot of Villa fans don't really rate him as high as they should. They are starting to now because we're on this fucking big surge up the table, and under Unai he's changed his game. But I think overall, throughout the past year or two, he's been massively underrated by everyone, and that's including Villa fans.
I don't think that's the worst shout. Again, this is where the line gets sort of drawn between, are they a bad player, are they underrated, or are they a good player? Like with Mings, I just don't feel like he goes underrated, if that makes sense. So,
yep,
he's very good. Yeah, very, very, very
good. Yeah, I like the shout. I do. Sean, give us your second choice.
Another player to take away an Aston Villa player. I don't think Mateo Kovacic gets enough recognition for what he does within that Chelsea team. He's not a goal scorer. He's not an assister, but he just seems to keep everything ticking to an extent because Chelsea aren't playing very well at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think that a player that's played for Real Madrid, again, it's probably more underappreciated more than underrated. I don't know if I can play the same card to get rid of a Villa player.
It's becoming the most unappreciated XI this is.
No, I think I like the shout with Kovacic. I think I don't know. He doesn't really have a special area. He just, like he says, keep things ticking.
Yeah.
If you was to take a look at his stats, it's his passing that puts him up there. So progressive passes attempted. He's making things happen, spraying the ball around. I like the shout. Yeah, I don't know. But do you think he gets underrated though? Do you think people are going?
Yeah, I think if you were to name the first, 5 players on the Chelsea team sheet, Kovacic is not in there. But I think he's so hugely important to their campaign for 11th place currently. Without him, where would they be? He's been available. He's always available for Chelsea. I don't think I've heard that Kovacic has had any sort of bad injuries. And that for that reason, I think he's underrated or underappreciated. But
Okay.
I think he's more underrated than John McGinn with his James and the Giant Peach head.
His little eyes.
His tiny little pinprick eyes.
Okay. Okay.
But can I sway it twice on the same thing and get rid of 2 Villa players?
Mate, this is gonna be difficult to decide if we end up with 9 different players. I'm gonna save one of my strongest choices for last. I'm gonna give you my second midfielder choice. That is Harvey Barnes. I think he sort of goes a little bit under the radar as well. You think who should be in the England team for Leicester? You go Maddison. I think Harvey Barnes gets overlooked. He put up a hell of a load of assists last season. He's got 10 goals in the Prem so far this season, and they're not bad goals either. He can run at players, he can score from distance, and he can finish really well. I think he gets overlooked for attacking midfielders in the Prem. I know he plays sometimes out wider as well, but
he's on the left wing.
I've got him as a forward actually.
You have?
Yeah,
Harvey Barnes as a forward.
Okay.
I'd have him as a winger personally.
Okay, yeah, I'll leave that one out there then. But I put him as midfielder because I thought he was more of an attacking midfielder. But
it's a good shout though. No,
Yeah.
Harvey Barnes.
I agree.
Yeah, I could agree with.
He's in my team for a winger. But yeah,
okay,
I absolutely agree. I think he's a very, very good winger. And if Leicester had a little bit more confidence and a bit more ability, then I think that he would be getting far more recognition because he's the guy that makes things happen.
I think if he was just surrounded by better players, like if you take, and I know Aiden's going to hate me for saying this, but I think you put him in that Man City team ahead of Jack Grealish. You've got Mahrez on one side, Barnes on the other. You've got threat. Foden, we know, isn't a wide player. He should be in that number 10.
That's right.
Yeah, Harvey Barnes in Man City's team would be lethal, I think.
Absolutely. Far better than Jack Grealish.
Aiden, give us your third choice midfielder, my friend.
Billing from Bournemouth. I've gone for.
I would have a feeling that Sean might have gone for him as well.
Yeah, Billing, mate, he's unreal. He's a fucking absolute machine. And again, he's another one. I think if you put him into a bigger club, into a better side, surrounded by better players, he'll shine, mate, more than he already does. Like, he's already doing good things at Bournemouth, but
I don't know if I'd say unreal though.
Potential. Really? No, I think he's class.
Why is he still playing at Bournemouth? Would be my question.
Why did Leighton Baines stay at Everton? Do you know what I mean? Sometimes moves don't happen. Do you know what I mean? Leighton Baines was a quality left back, all round left back. He just never got the big move. Yeah. It happens.
I think he's certainly a player that's sort of vital for Bournemouth in their chances of staying up, and they've sort of dragged themselves. Obviously, you got to credit the manager for doing the job that Scott Parker wasn't able to. But yeah, I think Billings. Yeah. I think that's a good shout. I think he's certainly underrated in a sense that he's right in the spine of that Bournemouth team that's fighting for survival. But
yeah,
I like the shout. He's not. I don't think he's that great, but underrated is probably fair. Not by Sean though.
No,
I really like Billing, and that's why I didn't put him as an underrated, because I think that there's a lot of people that are starting to recognise his qualities, Aiden included. But I went with Cheek Decore. Is that how you pronounce it? Cheek
Decore. Is he from Palace?
Yeah.
What I've seen, it's very difficult to be underrated when you've cost 25 million and you're on your first season, because a lot of people expect a lot of things from you. But I think that I think Patrick Vieira bought in the Patrick Vieira mould, and he's that type of player. And I don't think that outside of Palace fans, people are seeing a lot of him and really casting their eyes over him. But I think he's been very good, and give it 2 seasons, he'll be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. I strongly believe that.
Okay.
But again, that could be a bit more potential than underrated.
Okay.
It's a difficult balance, isn't it? It's a fine line between potential and underrated.
So I'm going to give you my third choice here, and this is going to get batted away before I even start the argument. But I've brought stats to the party and not potential.
Okay.
Right,
Underrated Bruno Fernandes.
No, we're not having that.
He's not going to the team.
Not at all.
He's not going to the team. No.
Why? So you both rate him, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think he's a good player. It's just petulant. It's just an
I've said it's his
irritating rat.
personality. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine. No, I'm a winner either way because I've got you both to say that Bruno Fernandes is a good player. That's fine.
Yeah, no,
I've
always said he's a good player. I just don't like his personality.
Okay, no, that's
his
fine.
Personality is just fucking awful.
No, I've got that recorded. That's enough for me. That's all I need. So no, the stats I brought to the party is just the fact that if you look across Europe at the biggest chances created, we're just let down by the fact we don't have an out-and-out goal scorer up top because he's in the top 2% of big chances created. Expected assists, he's in the top 1%. I think I'm going to be controversial when I say this because he came in as that number 10 and created a lot of chances from there. But I think when he plays deeper in the midfield, he picks up the ball everywhere regardless. So as long as we've got that solid Casemiro in the midfield and whoever his replacement eventually is, having Bruno alongside him will be great because he can go out wide, he'll come back, he'll get forward. His chance creation is just phenomenal. His long passes are amazing. And he's up there, top 6% for attempted passes versus, other wingers and attacking midfielders. If you compare him to just midfielders, he's in the top 5% of pretty much every stat you can imagine. So assists, expected assists, chances created, he's phenomenal. And I think the reason I put him down as underrated is because people just see the petulance, people see the way that he plays his game, so approaching the referee and moaning and groaning, but that's just part of the player, isn't it? You can't take away how good he is just from his petulance, as you call it.
Petulance, yeah.
But I think he just goes under the radar because of that bullshit. No one likes to see it. I don't like to see it, but that's just who he is. It's not going to change now, is it? It's like the Chelsea team of 2013 or 14 or whatever. Just that as soon as the ref made a decision against him, he'd be surrounded by 12 people.
Yeah.
So that's just how it's going to be with Bruno, I think.
I don't know if Aidan is very similar to myself. Once we heard that Bruno was not going in that team, I've just had about 2.5 minutes of white noise.
Jacob Ramsey, I think, out of all of our nominations, I think has to go in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So Jacob Ramsey's in there. Lovely, thank you.
Yeah.
But because, like you say, when the media talk about when Gareth Southgate picks his team, when the media talk about these players, I don't hear Jacob Ramsey's name mentioned half as much as it probably should be.
No, definitely.
From my players, I'm gonna insist that Bentancur goes in there. If you just take a look at his stats, I think he has to be there. He's such a good player, but he's in a team and a system where he's just invisible. He doesn't have to be doing the defensive work that a midfielder does because Højbjerg's doing it. He doesn't have to do the attacking work because it goes out wide to the wingers and wing-backs and Kane in the midfield. So
he just floats around.
Yeah, and he puts up good numbers when he does.
I'll have Bentancur in there as long as you can say that he plays for a stinky team and he should be playing at a better team.
You can say that. No, he should be playing for a better team. Don't get me wrong.
A stinky team. He's currently playing for a stinky team.
Yeah. He plays for Spurs. It's Jacob Ramsey and Bentancur. I've got Harvey Barnes, but like you say, he does play as more of a forward. Who were the other shouts that we had here?
McGinn and Kovacic.
McGinn, Kovacic, Decore.
And Decore.
I think Garner was the other one. I think again we can probably get rid of Decore on the same grounds that it's a little bit leaning more towards potential than the numbers they put up. Kovacic and McGinn. I don't know,
This is down to you, Andy. This is down to you.
No,
mate.
don't put me in the Thiago Silva, Tyrone Mings position again.
Yeah, it's fucking you, mate. It's all down to you. No, I'll give my case. Sean's give his. There are two players. You're the judge, jury, and executioner.
See, I don't know, and John McGinn, right?
Just be aware, I am biting my finger right now. So if you make the wrong decision, I could bite my finger off.
Exactly as you said. I think it's the second time you've done it where you undermine your argument a little bit. John McGinn being linked with Man United, that doesn't make him underrated.
Back then, we're talking about recent.
Yeah, back then.
Recently.
But Man United would rather.
I rate him. I think he's fantastic.
Man United would rather stick with Fred and McTominay than get McGinn.
Yeah,
I think he's okay. I think he's a steady player. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't know. I don't think he's underrated though. He's
so need to make your decision. I'm fucking boiling over here.
They're honestly both good shouts, but I don't think McGinn has done enough to be considered underrated. I think he's perfectly rated. I think Kovacic probably does go under the radar a little, just because you look. I think it's the better shout. I honestly do, and I'm not just saying that. I think he's the better shout of the two because he does go under the radar. You know, they've spent all this money on Fernandes, and Kante's just the god of the world in their midfield, and I think Kovacic probably doesn't get the recognition he deserves. But Chelsea, at the same time, Chelsea are doing shit.
Yeah.
Can we not just pick someone else that's not one of them two?
No, I don't mind. No, we go for Kovacic. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
If you don't hear from me again, you know why.
I think I'm just thinking purely out of my mind, who is the better player that's not rated as highly? And I think, sorry. Forwards. Now, you both got Harvey Barnes, right?
I've not got Harvey Barnes. I've not got him.
Oh, okay.
But I did say, I was just saying I'd have him as a winger.
Okay, that's fine. So, Sean, we know one of your first nominations. Aidan, if you want to give us one of yours.
So, who I've picked, I'm already wanted to change to Harvey Barnes now because I completely forgot about him.
You can do that before you say it if you want, and give the other.
Yeah, let's go Harvey Barnes. Let's go Harvey Barnes, one wing. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll fill out a spot with Barnes. I think we don't need. We've discussed him already. That's fine.
It's a perfect choice, I think.
I'll give you my first nomination of mine. Then I have got one player that I'm pretty sure that Sean's going to also have, and that's Julian Alvarez.
Yes, absolutely.
He's just very unfortunate to be coming into this City team when Haaland came in as well. No one's taking their eyes off Erling Haaland, and rightly so for the numbers he's putting up. But Alvarez is an unbelievable second choice to him. He would get straight into United's team. I'd argue that Arsenal fans would have him over Jesus as well. Probably Newcastle, he'd walk straight into their team. I don't think there's a team that he doesn't get in the Prem, essentially. He's such a clinical finisher, clever attacker, great instincts, and I think I can't believe that he's playing as a second choice.
That's the thing. That's what I'm a little bit worried about him. I think it's going to be the same. We go with Aguero and Jesus. I feel like it's going to be the exact same thing that's going to happen here. Haaland's going to have the spotlight, and Alvarez is just going to occasionally come on off the bench, play a couple of cup games, and then he'll just get a move to again maybe Arsenal or somewhere like that, and then do other things there.
I have a feeling he'll get loaned out because I don't see Haaland staying for long. I see Haaland, especially this season, if they go and do the treble that they're on for, which makes me feel sick just saying out loud. But if once Haaland's won things at City, he'll go and do it somewhere else. I think he's going to be the new Zlatan. He'll just go and win things everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you can do it in the Prem, arguably the hardest league of them all, you can easily just go to, AC Milan when you're 32 and win it. You can go to Real Madrid while they're, making Champions League semi-finals and finals year upon year.
Yeah.
I don't think he doesn't miss his opportunity to go to Real Madrid after City, I don't think.
No.
And Alvarez will stick around potentially for when his time comes. Maybe go out on loan and say, look, I want to be first choice somewhere. I'm committed to City, but whilst that absolute freak of nature is here, I need first team football, and I think he'll be a valuable asset for anyone who gets him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair.
He's better than any striker we have. It's not hard, is it?
Oh, mate, he'd walk. Well, yeah, he'd be perfect for your team. He'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he would score Erling Haaland numbers at Manchester United.
If he got the same, if he got the same minutes, I don't think that's too far fetched to say either.
No, I don't.
Yeah, nothing more to be said on him. Aidan, who have you got as a second choice?
Well, my second forward. So, oh, I've got Jack Grealish. Just getting that out there now.
I think he's started to upturn in form. That's all I can say on him. But I don't.
Yeah, he's starting to. But you have to agree. Since he's moved to City, he's been highly underrated.
No, he's been shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Stop it.
He had worse numbers. No, he's had worse numbers than Anthony in his first season, and he was already playing in the Prem. So,
the really funny thing is,
so you can say, are you going to say that Anthony's underrated as well? No, he's done better numbers as a winger than Grealish.
The really funny thing is that we could genuinely finish this 11 with two Aston Villa players that Aidan didn't even vote for.
Yeah. Literally, what is going on?
I think I understand that though, because like from my point of view for putting Bruno in, I don't think he gets the credit he's deserved because of that other bullshit. So I can completely understand where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he's underrated. He's got potential. He's got a recent upturn in form, I'd say, over the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. But
yes, I think this is
before that he was just poor. Yeah. Unfortunately, that seems to be... It's an interesting point of discussion. I think we can potentially add this into a podcast one week, talking about how much do we think value affects a player. Like Harry Maguire, having that 80 million label over your head, it's a horrible symptom of Man United as well. Look at Jadon Sancho, his wages, his price tag. He's not living up to it, but we know he's capable. There's glimpses of it. Grealish as well, his carries forward, his running at players. We know what he's capable of doing. We've seen him do it in an England shirt, in a Villa shirt.
Yeah.
But he's always going to have that 100 million hanging over his head. It'll be an interesting thing to talk about, and I think that I like Jack Grealish. That was honestly one of the most gutting things when it was after the Euros, wasn't it? It was either City or United, and I was so gutted that he didn't go to United when we very well could have had him should Villa have been relegated the season before.
Yeah.
So I like him as a player. I'd love to have him, but he has been poor for City. I don't think there's much arguing with that. I understand the shout, though.
I can settle for that because you said you liked him as a player, so I'm happy. Let's move on.
Sean, if you want to give us your third.
Solly Marsh.
Very nice.
I don't think Solly Marsh gets enough credit for the type of player he is. And he's quite, not old, but he's in the prime of his career now, and it feels like he's been at Brighton forever. But I think he's a phenomenal player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why more players, why more pundits and people within the football in circles aren't saying how good Solly Marsh is. Give him an England cap. He's not got an England cap.
No, he's a good player, to be fair.
He should have got an England cap over Jared Bowen by now. Jared Bowen is a shocking player.
I think where he lost some of his credit, he's obviously starting to create a lot of chances and score goals, especially this season and last. But I'm sure I'm going crazy. He used to be a defender, right? Wasn't he a right back?
Yeah, I think he was, and I think he's converted into a winger now.
So I keep dropping my pen. I've got him in my team as a forward, but yeah, he's really this new Brighton, new and rejuvenated Brighton. I don't know how long this team is going to last. You've got the likes of Matoma on one side, and then you've got March on the other, and you've got Danny Welbeck in the middle, and that's just mental to me. So you know that Welbeck, he's not putting up massive numbers. He's only scored like 5 goals in the Prem, I think, this season.
Yeah,
but their attack and their sort of it's coming from somewhere, right? And you look at Solly Marsh; he's an FPL owner's dream as well. I put him in a few weeks ago because of the numbers he was putting up, and then you start to watch him, and yeah, he can put balls in unbelievable places in the box, dangerous positions as well. I know that's going to get clipped up, isn't it?
He can put balls in unbelievable places.
He can put balls in unbelievable places. Oh my god!
John started to smile, and then that just tipped me over.
It's too late.
Oh fucking hell!
The damage is done.
It's
what
done.
did he say?
That's all over the internet.
Yeah, I'll stop there.
Oh fucking hell! I've got actual tears in my eyes. Jesus Christ.
For the exact same reason that Solly March is as good as he is, if Mohamed Salah was not at Liverpool, Trent would have been a right winger by now. I'm absolutely convinced of it.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad shout, to be fair.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Solly March was my second choice. I think he's a shoo-in. He's really coming about. I think it'll be a big test for him, though. It'll be a big test for all of these players. It depends on what Brighton's strategy is. I think, unfortunately, they have a tendency to sell their best players. Whether that will be the case this season or not, I think it might be. I think if they don't make European football, there's going to unfortunately be a lot of knocks on the doors for Matoma, March, and their left back Sean. What was his name?
Estupendo.
Exactly. Sanchez, their keeper. He might have stayed, but
I don't think anybody would come knocking for Solly Marsh, and that's the concern for me because I think he's that good. But I don't think nobody else is speaking about him with a transfer for 65 million, whatever.
Yeah. I could see him going to a Spurs. Kulusevski's not putting up the numbers they expected out of him, I don't think.
No, not compared to when he first
Lucas
came.
Moura is, I think he leaves on a free in summer, doesn't he? So why not a Spurs? They've chucked money at them for Basuma before, so
yeah.
I actually think Basuma is far better than Spurs are showing him at the moment. Maybe because of what Conte was doing. If they put him, the thing is that with Basuma is the same as what Højbjerg is.
Yeah,
and that's why he's not getting any game time.
Another player we didn't mention as well, which I feel almost bad for not having him in there now, is Caicedo.
Yeah, I was going to go with Caicedo, but when you get linked with a 60 million, 70 million pound transfer, you kind of get in the credit that you think that he deserves.
Yeah,
I understand why. Yeah, if that January flirtation didn't happen, then he would have absolutely gone in this team.
Yeah.
Is that everyone's nominations? I've got one more forward, haven't I? Because Barnes has gone in the team, but he was in the midfield for me.
We've all got one more forward, haven't we?
I've got
no. Sean had Alvarez and Barnes and March.
Yeah, 4-3-3.
Yeah, I mean, have you got another nomination? I've got one more nomination for forward. You gave yours up, didn't you, for Barnes?
Yeah, I gave one up, then I've had Grealish, and then I should have one more.
Okay, yeah.
Have we fucked this up?
No, I think I must have overlooked your third choice.
Oh, cheers, mate. Yeah. I mean,
it's going to be Ollie Watkins, isn't it?
No, it's not Ollie Watkins, because he is unreal.
Go on.
So I've gone with... I don't even know if I want to say this. Darwin Núñez. I've gone with Darwin Núñez. He's had a lot of stick from a lot of people, and people have slagged him off endlessly this season. And to be fair to him, he's not done too bad, considering there's been a lot of rotation in that team.
I don't even think he's Liverpool's most underrated attacker, though.
Really? I don't know.
I think Luis Diaz probably is more underrated than him.
Yeah, he's out all season though, isn't he? He's been out
He's
all season.
just come back into training, I believe, or he might have even played. I can't remember.
Oh, is he?
I don't follow Liverpool these days. They're not a threat.
But yeah, me personally, I just thought Darwin Núñez has been slated constantly by everyone, and he's still producing not bad numbers for his first game of the season.
Yeah,
His first season in the Premier, sorry.
I think he got a lot of stick. It was just purely because of it's not in Liverpool's nature to spend big money on players. Like they've just ruled themselves out of the race pretty much for Jude Bellingham because he's going to be over 100 mil, and he was 100 million euros, right? Núñez.
Yeah,
I think it was, yeah.
And he did have a bad start to the season. He is certainly starting to score goals now, but I don't know. I wouldn't say he's underrated. I think he was capable of more, but once he adapts, I think he'll be fine. I don't know.
That's fair, mate.
Maybe under-respected.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's okay. Maybe yeah.
But no, I think it's a good shout for sure. I think underrated might be the case if you sort of keep your lens of the first half of the season on. I mean, I've certainly been guilty of underrating him before myself. So yeah,
I think a lot of people have. I think we could all say we've all said pretty negative things about him towards the start of the season.
But it's when you tie that price tag into a player as well, you think they need to hit the ground running and they need to sort of go straight off the bat sort of thing. So
yeah, but then again, it's like we say about the price tag having effects on you.
Mm-hmm. My last one, again, I think I fucked up with this one. Maybe I should have just swapped Harvey Barnes and this player. My last forward for my choices was Michael Olise from Palace.
Quality player.
He's a good player, but I think when people say, young, upcoming, I don't know, has he committed his nationality yet? I think it's between England and France, isn't it?
He'll never get in that France team.
No, I don't.
Never.
I don't know if he's committed, but I don't think he'd get in the England team either. I think when you look at Palace and, there's a lot of players that just come and go and no one looks at the other sides of Zaha when it comes to attacking talent. I think he plays as a midfielder or a bit of an advanced midfielder, but his set pieces are quality. He's very clever when it comes to attacking. Both times when we've played Palace this season, he's looked really threatening. So that's where I get a lot of my opinion from on this. I don't think against Leeds the other day when they smashed him, I think he got 3 assists as well. So he's a very clever player, but it's just whether or not he kicks on. I mean, like Eze, I would have expected a bit more from him rather than to stay at Palace, because even when Palace got him, everyone was a bit like, surely he's better than Palace. But
yeah, I was well jealous. I was hoping better we're going to get him, to be fair.
Yeah, I think... Sorry, go on, Sean.
I think with Palace players, I don't think their chairman likes selling their players, so they tie them down to huge deals and then it almost says, this player is unavailable, you cannot have him. And you look over the last 10 years, I can't think of any Palace players that's got a big money move because they just play hardball.
Yeah, I honestly, he's not getting in this team, I don't think, ahead of who we've got down already for sure, but I think with Palace, they don't go out and buy players, do they?
No.
Like Vieira, again, another argument, was Vieira rightly sacked or not? Even Company come out and said that if you don't give the manager the resources, they're going to struggle. And you're right, they're not. If they had some of their youth talent mixed in with a few good signings, they'd arguably not have even been in a relegation fight at the start of the season. Big Roy's come in and saved them this season, but they could be pushing if they just had some big name signings. So get rid of the deadwood, sprinkle, keep Zaha in there, get us absolutely solid midfield, some world class centre backs. The goalkeeper's fine, just get some bigger names in there, maybe a fullback. But yeah, you just stick with youth. They've got great youth players. They're doing well. They're keeping them in the Prem every year, but there's going to be a time where they get a bad batch of youth players. They don't invest in players and they're just gone. When Zaha goes, that's a lot of your goals lost.
Yeah, they've not made any money from him either when they could have done.
Exactly. So
yeah, they're going to shit out eventually.
Yeah, I think they're both. I mean, Olise and Eze, I think, are both incredible players. probably playing below their levels. I just had to pick one of them, and I think Michael Olise is better myself.
Yeah, Olise.
But yeah, so far I've got down Harvey Barnes was almost a shoe-in, Alvarez and March. Was there anyone that dislodges them from their places?
No, I'm happy to go with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's...
Do you want to do a manager as well?
I think that wouldn't be a bad shout, actually, to put a manager in this team. I'll run through the full 11 and then we'll discuss managers. I don't know if I went for the midfield as well earlier, but that's fine. In goal, Bernd Leno of Fulham. Right back, Ashley Young. Centre backs, Thiago Silva and Ben Mee. Left back, Sean is...
Estupendo.
Midfield, Jacob Ramsey, Rodrigo Bentancur, Mateo Kovacic. And then the forward, Harvey Barnes, Julian Alvarez and Solly March. I think that is a brilliant team.
Yeah.
Manager-wise, then, let's discuss the nominations. I didn't actually think to put one down. I always forget about managers in these teams.
No, I didn't.
Underrated. Let me just pull up the league table and just going to remind myself I don't overlook anyone. Emery, I wouldn't put in there because Emery was a recent Europa League winner. I think he was a bad choice for Arsenal to get rid of him personally, but it might pay them off now. Eddie Howe, I think his penis has been sucked by more pundits than anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's way, way, way. I wouldn't say overrated, but he's just blown up.
Marco Silva, I would go for.
See, I'd go for.
I wouldn't. He could have cost his team Europe this season with that meltdown at United.
Yeah, what's Brentford's manager? Is it Thomas
Frank?
Thomas Frank. Yeah,
that's what I'd go for personally.
I think Gary O'Neill deserves a bit of a plaudit for what he's doing at Bournemouth.
I don't know. It's very hard.
If he keeps them up, I'd say absolutely.
Oh, there has been one unreal manager that's just come back into the Prem.
Garcia? Or Gracia, whatever his name is.
Dean Smith.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he was back in.
He's back at Leicester. Yeah, he got
Leicester, isn't he? Instead of Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
And John Terry.
And Craig Shakespeare.
See, I'd even be tempted to say Ten Hag. Based on what we talked about previously, obviously not by Man United players, but by others. Can you remember that Paddy Power thing where they paid out on him to be the first manager sacked?
Oh,
that was
that
at the start of the season.
Yeah.
That was after the Brentford game.
And he's the first Man United manager, potentially. If he gets top four, that's the first time United would have finished top four and won a trophy in the same season since Fergie. And I think...
Did they win one with Mourinho?
Won the Europa League, but I'm sure we finished fifth that season, or maybe even lower, because I can't remember where we finished, but I remember going, we need to win the Europa League because that's our only shot of Champions League. We definitely weren't top four.
Yeah.
It just feels a bit stinky putting Ten Hag as our underrated manager.
Yeah, I don't think he's underrated personally, but maybe other people don't rate him. They say, Eric, he was getting called Eric Nine Hag and stuff like that, wasn't he, at the start of the season? People honestly were criticising. There were even some United fans that were criticising United getting him over Poch and over Conte.
No, I like Ten Hag. I really do. I think he's doing all the right things at United. I think he just needs to slowly build his squad.
Yeah.
Give him his time, give him his money, build the squad he needs, and I think he'll be having Man United playing some fucking exciting football like he did with Ajax.
I think you could make a case, if you take the last 2 or 3 weeks out of the equation, I think you could make a case for De Zerbi being underrated because everyone thought that no one thought Potter would be great at Chelsea, but I'm pretty sure most people thought that Brighton might be worse off, but they've done better.
Yeah.
I think he is starting to get the recognition he deserves, but...
Do you think that we're overlooking 100% Hodgson? Oh, no, he wasn't 100% yesterday, was he? He drew his game. Fuck.
Oh, did they draw? Oh, what was it? Yeah, Palace yesterday. That's right. Yeah, against Everton.
Yeah, drew with Everton.
Are we overlooking Roy Hodgson? Should he be there? Is he underrated?
I don't think so. I think he has got a 100% record, but he came in at a time when Palace's hard fixtures had just finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless him, he shouldn't even be there. He should be retired, man. Leave Roy alone.
Yeah.
Let him have his
He
oatmeal.
looks well happy though. I saw it. I watched the highlights yesterday. He looked so happy, like fucking shaking the referee's hands and that.
Yeah.
Bless him. Oh, I love Old Roy.
Yeah. He's fed up with bingo and cribs night at the pub.
This is a
Yeah.
really difficult one, you know.
Yeah.
This is really
Thomas
difficult.
Frank is a good shout.
So yeah, me personally, I go Thomas Frank.
But
I think what he's done with Brentford is just fucking unreal. And you never hear people really talk about him that much. Like
Right.
Zerbi's been there a couple of months and he's been spoke about quite a bit, whereas Thomas Frank, he brought Brentford up to the Premier League for the first time in their history.
so who would you pick between?
Kept
I think it's only
comfortably.
between Frank and Thomas Frank and De Zerbi.
I'd go Frank personally.
Yeah, I would go.
For underrated, I think Thomas Frank
Yeah.
has been given a
Yeah.
lot more credit than De Zerbi up until about 2 weeks ago.
I don't know.
How many times have you heard the name Thomas Frank be mentioned, and how many times have you heard De Zerbi's name? I didn't even know
Not
De
many. I
Zerbi's
can't
name
remember
until
his
about
name.
6 weeks into the season.
Nah,
I was like, no,
fuck that.
honestly, I'm not even joking. But but I'll get the piss taken out of me. But I didn't even know who was Brighton's manager for the first
No,
few
I
weeks of the
didn't either.
season.
I didn't.
When Potter
Frank
left, it was
Lampard.
like because everyone thought
Fucking
everyone thought Graham Potter is Brighton. He's gone off.
Yeah.
He's gone out to Sweden to learn his trade, and blah blah blah. He's excited, this, that, and the other. Now look at him. You didn't even care about who Brighton's manager was then.
No, have a meltdown.
What do you
That's
think?
what we're saying then.
I'd probably go Thomas Frank because he's won some big games against some big teams, and he always seems to turn it on against big teams. But De Zerbi's done an unbelievable job.
Should we leave it down to the comments to decide? People in the comments can decide. If you've made it this far, then fair play to you. But Thomas Frank or De Zerbi, maybe we can put a poll out on Twitter.
Yeah, put a poll out on Twitter as well.
To decide the manager of this team. Yeah, we'll put a poll out on Twitter when the video goes out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the more underrated manager of the two, Thomas Frank or De Zerbi? That completes this one then, boys. Coming up next time, we've got the special that we've all been waiting for. It's the Unga Bunga 11.
Yeah.
And that's going to be of all time, just so we can make sure we properly trawl through all the meatheads that have ever played in the Prem. We've got a couple of assurances in there, but I think that one's going to be exciting. Yeah, lovely team, that, boys. We'll go through and get all of the teams from the Pretend 11 series, and we'll probably have a bit of fun with them, see if we can get some sort of knockout going, or see which one's the better team. Who do you think would win?
Yeah, man.
Lovely, boys. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching, guys. If you haven't got to this point already and you've not given us a like, do that.